Helen,
And I'm Liz,
and we're sisters
scientists,
and lifelong X-Files fans.
and this is We Want to Believe.
All right, welcome back.
Hello, everyone.
Today we're talking about Too Shy, but do we have anything to talk about before that?
I don't think so. We're like a few episodes like staggered, so like we just at this point only our first episode of season 3, Lightning Boy, has been posted, so we don't have any updates on, for example, the name or tagline for our Jesus is Back and He Wants Revenge film. We don't have any photos of scary bridges from listeners yet. We'd be interested in both of those, of course. Yeah, I don't think I have anything to share.
Okay.
While we're here, a reminder to do all that stuff like subscribe. Do it, subscribe, download our episodes, follow us, stuff like that. Recommend us, review us. It's all We Want to Believe Pod.
Yep.
We want to believe pod at gmail.com. It's we want to believe pod.com for the website. And you can find us on Instagram at we want to believe pod.
So, Too Shy.
Yeah,
the
so
episode.
tell us about the fat vampire episode.
So, I have seen this.
Oh, okay.
I think I just didn't recall it very well. And I also, it's not, so Scully makes a comment at one point about like, what are you suggesting, Mulder, like vampirism, essentially?
Mhm.
But I was expecting it to be more of a like hokey sort of episode. Like when you say fat vampire, right?
Yeah.
Like,
And by the way, to be clear, I don't mean a vampire who is fat.
no,
I
right.
mean, yeah, which just sounds like, I don't know, cute?
Yeah.
I don't know. No, we mean a vampire who is like not blood, but fat. That's what I
Right.
want. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not
Fat
hokey.
sucking.
I mean, I've clearly seen it, but I don't remember the details. I know there's
No.
like dating.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard episode. Like I didn't mind it.
Oh, good.
I was expecting there to be, no. So, okay, so it starts in Cleveland and two people are parked in a car on like a lookout post date sort of situation.
Mhm.
It was funny. He's looking at her necklace. And she says, "Oh, my sister gave it to me. It's kind of dopey, huh? I mean, a 4-leaf clover. How obvious can you get?" And I thought it was funny because you once gave me a 4-leaf clover necklace.
Oh yeah, and I'm your
Yeah.
sister.
Yeah, yeah. How dopey.
It's kind of dopey. Yeah.
And so they start kissing then, and some gross stuff is like between their mouths. And then he starts attacking her. Like she kind of freaks out a bit, like, why is all this goo on my mouth?
Oh.
And then he attacks her. And then the cops find the car and the body in the morning. So post intro,
Her body.
her body, yes.
Yeah, okay.
Her body.
Mm.
Well, a body. But yes,
Oh,
it's hers.
okay. Yeah.
But yeah. So after the intro, Mulder and Scully are at the scene. Standard opening. They're talking to a detective of some sort or another agent. And we find out the woman's name was Lauren McElvey, according to her license that was in there. But her body has been something.
Okay, you're gonna have to give me a better adjective. Or wait, was that an adjective? Her body has been. No, that would be
No,
a verb.
That's it. Yeah.
You're gonna have to give me a
No.
better verb. No?
Oh, yes. Something is not a verb, though. The word something is.
No.
Okay, I thought that's what
the
you were
word
saying. Yes.
something is not a verb.
Yeah.
But her body has been blank. I'm gonna need
Desiccated, but
like
with
all
goo?
dried out or whatever.
But with goo. Like there's like a very like, have you seen bodies that are like almost at the end stage of decomp where there's like
Oh,
Oh.
no.
All right,
No.
maybe that's a dumb question. Okay, sorry. So picture a skeleton. Yes.
Okay. That I
Okay.
can do.
And then picture like you magically like snap your fingers and there's no more stuff inside. There's just like some skin, like kind
Wait,
of
hold on.
almost
Inside
like
the
a
bones
mummy.
of the skeleton?
No, 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 around the bones. So like picture a mummy. You can picture a
Okay,
mummy, yes?
I'm just gonna picture a mummy. Yep. Okay.
Okay, all right. A mummy, but with goo.
Like, is the goo like smeared on top of the mummy or like you know what? It probably doesn't matter that much. But maybe it does. I don't know. You tell
Um,
me.
the mummy is made of goo
The
except for
mummy
the
is made
bones.
of goo.
Yeah.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Covered, dipped in part of it.
goo
More
covered
part of
mummy?
it. Yeah, but more like made out of goo. So
I think
the
we've said goo a like
yeah,
unprecedented
okay,
number
I'm
of
just gonna go
times.
I'm just gonna go
Yeah.
ahead.
And I haven't even gotten to
Um
my at least it's not goo story, but I think I've told that on the podcast before.
yeah.
Yeah,
I forgot about that though.
because this is goo.
Yeah. So Mulder is saying that apparently a while ago he got sent some files that other women had disappeared in Aberdeen, which I didn't look up. I'm assuming is near Cleveland.
Okay.
Our Ohio-based listeners can tell us if
Yeah,
I'm
I know
wrong.
there's an Aberdeen in
Um,
Seattle because that's where Kurt Cobain lived as a child, and I know there's
ah,
one in Scotland.
yes, I was aware of the
But
one in Scotland, but that's
yeah,
it. But I don't think they mean that. Uh,
yeah.
and that only one of them was found, and her body was too decomposed to tell the cause of death.
Okay.
And apparently, they had all been posting Lonely Hearts ads in the newspaper. So we know what the killer looks like, because we saw him attacking the woman in the,
Mm.
before the intro. So then we see him chatting with someone online. He's at his computer, and the
Oh,
names.
so this is what, like late 95 this comes out?
Yes. Yeah. So this is
So
like very
there are
early
chat
internet
rooms and
dating.
stuff. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
And so their names are, one of them is Hugs and the other is Timid, which is
I
just the
hate them
worst.
both. I hate them both. Let's get them out of the dating pool. Let them go out with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Ew.
no, because one of them is the murderer. We don't
Oh,
want that for the
never
woman.
mind. I'm not like, I hate your screen name so much. I want you to become a mummy full of goo. Yeah.
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 And Hugs is spelled Huggs, which was, I was like, is that her last name? Is that supposed to be her last name?
No, there's no
Or is
scenario in
that
which that's her
like,
last name. That's gotta
yeah,
be the writers were like, you know what people do online? They
yeah,
make S's into Z's. And let's throw an extra G in there for
yeah.
good measure. I don't
I mean,
know. On the
yeah,
other hand, people have really weird, stupid screen names, you know?
yeah, that's true. What was yours
I
on
don't remember.
AOL?
On AOL, I think it was just like Liz Holden 1981 or something like that.
Ah, hmm.
But my email address for ages, so much so that I gave
Oh,
it to my
yeah.
students in grad school when I was a TA, rather than giving them my university email address, which would have made so much more sense, was RBF for EVA, which is Real Big Fish Forever.
That's right.
So
Yeah.
that's like really cool and a total contrast, to what we're talking about of dumb screen names. Yeah.
Yeah. My first email address was Mandarin_orange. I don't know why. I don't particularly, well, I like oranges a decent enough amount, but
Not enough to be
enough.
like, definitely I need to like
Yeah.
name myself this.
And it was taken, and so Mandarin was spelled wrong. So
I love that was the fix. That's hilarious.
yeah. Yeah. And then my AOL screen name was Wisco Girl 88, which I still sometimes use for things.
Yeah.
I
I
stand
used
by
physics girl for stuff for a long time, but now I am a physics woman. So um
Hugs and Timid.
yeah,
Oh.
I feel like Hugs, I hate it, but like I don't know. Timid, I think I hate more.
Yeah.
Is that's the killer,
yes.
right?
Yes, I believe. I can't actually, I couldn't tell very easily from the messages.
Do you remember this story about our friend Tony meant to text his girlfriend at the time, but texted our friend Chris instead? Just snuggles with a question mark? It kind of reminds me of that.
That's really funny.
Mhm.
Um, I really like that. I didn't know that story.
Yeah.
Um, so he's typing, right? And
Mhm.
a woman shows up at the door and says she's there to give him new keys for the storage unit. And that she says something like, "Oh, you must be a novelist for how much I can hear you typing," or something like that. And he's kind of like, "Yes," kind of creepily. I mean, like we know, no, he's actually chatting with a bunch of women
Yeah.
online, but he's
Yeah.
lying. And
That's
she
what I'm
says,
doing when I claim that I'm writing. I just came back from being with a writer friend at a cafe and we were just like writing, writing, writing. And it'd be hilarious if it turned out, no, I'm actually just in a chat room. Hugs with the RBF for
um,
EVA.
yeah. And she says she's a writer too. So she wants to see if he can read some of her poetry
Hang on.
sometime.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm not letting you move very quickly, but it's about writing.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I've got this clear. She comes to the door
Yeah. To
to
give
be
him new
like,
keys.
so does she like own the apartment complex or something?
Yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
and so she's like his landlord maybe or works in the
Yeah.
complex. She's like, here's some keys. Hey, I hear you typing a lot. Ah, you're a writer. Can I show you my poetry?
Yes.
You know
She's
what? It's
clearly,
actually not that weird. I have already had people come up to me at book events and be like, "Oh, so what was the process like?" And then I start to
oh man.
honestly tell them, and then I realize they don't actually want this information. They want me to say, "Oh, I have really good connections," because then they go, I've written a novel. And I'm like, "Oh my God, here we are. This is happening."
Yeah.
I'm not saying other people can't write good novels. I'm saying this is not the way to interact with
Yeah.
me at my
Random
book
people.
event. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
when it's like, adult sci-fi,
Yeah.
not a
Not
YA
your genre.
contemporary novel. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
anyway. So actually, I take it back. I don't know
That
that many
seems normal.
poets, but it doesn't seem that weird. Yeah.
Okay. Well, and she's clearly flirting with him.
Okay. Is
So
he
she's
cute?
no, but he's not bad. I mean,
Okay.
like, I don't know. I wouldn't date him. I don't know.
How old is he? Like,
Late 30s,
hmm.
early 40s, mid
Okay.
40s,
Okay.
somewhere in there, I guess.
Okay.
I feel like it was harder to tell in the 90s because I feel like everyone dressed older than they were.
So I know what you mean. I definitely feel that way about the 80s, but then
Hmm.
I but I was a teenager in the 90s, so I feel like I shouldn't feel that way about the 90s. And I feel like, do we think that about all generations? And therefore, at some point, are people going to think it about people today? Is it going to look old? Does it only look old because we associate those styles with people who didn't
No,
know?
no, I
Okay.
don't think so because I don't feel that way about the 70s, like, or the 60s. I feel
I
like
don't
the
know. Have you
60s with
seen
like,
dudes in their 70s who are like 18 with like a big full beard and like
like our dad. Is that-
no, he didn't have a full
oh,
beard. He just had an afro.
okay, yeah.
So, yeah. Um but yeah, like I think of like the hairy men of the 70s look sort
Hmm.
of ageless. That was a weird sentence.
We'll have to do some sort of study.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah. We
yeah,
could. I would love to
we
design that
could.
study.
Yeah. How
Yeah.
old do you think this person is?
Yeah.
Okay. So, we see then Scully walk into an autopsy suite and the detective is there, like or whoever, I think his last name is Cross. We eventually figure
Hmm.
out. Um, and he's all surprised that Scully's a doctor. And he starts talking about how he questions the wisdom of allowing female officers to take certain types of cases.
Whoa. Hey,
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah, and like, like a case like this where he clearly has a thing against women. And like I feel like as far as the X-Files go, this is a pretty like mild one.
Yeah, I'm like, Scully was upset by Donnie Faster, and that's like about it. Like, I
Right.
just again I go back to her experience in I think like the Arctic or something where she's like handcuffed to a woman who has like a
Yeah.
fungus explode out of her chest, like
Yeah.
like in a different room. Like I feel
Yeah.
like she's a tough cookie. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is, but I guess that this dude doesn't know what sorts of cases the X-Files get, so he's just like a garden variety sexist
Yeah, I think
who
so.
thinks that women should do delicate lady autopsies only.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
people who die of embarrassment or what how else might a delicate lady die? I don't know. Fainting from seeing a
Fainting.
man's calves. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
That, I mean, I don't know. Now I'm just picturing all the like historical research I do into like the late 1800s, early 1900s. I spent a lot of time looking through like medical records from that time
oh
period and like
yeah. Yeah,
seeing those
causes of
pop
death.
up. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's gonna start the autopsy and she goes to get the body out of the cabinet, but it's leaking, which is never good.
Ooh. Ooh.
And she opens it, and the woman is all goo except for a skeleton. So
Oh
she is
man.
basically
At least
liquefied.
yeah, this is not, at least it's not goo. It is
It is
so much
goo,
goo.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
So then we see Mulder interviewing a friend of hers, a friend of the victim of Lauren, who she says that he had seemed like such a nice person. Like they're talking about how Lauren had met this guy online
Okay.
that she had the date with and how he seemed, so nice from that. And that Too Shy was his online name. So that's where we
Okay.
get that.
Okay.
And the chat room was big and beautiful. And apparently Lauren had concerns about her weight, and that whole thing felt very 90s to me, especially because these were all relatively mid-sized women. It
Sure, but
wasn't.
I mean, I feel like the more I look back at like 90s stuff and it's just like
Oh, right.
it's
That's what I'm
just
saying. Right.
deranged, like
And the 2000s.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh
I
my
mean, a lot is
God.
still deranged, but it's gotten so
Yes.
much better.
Yeah, like I watched Bridget Jones on a plane about
Oh
a
my
year ago and I
God.
was like, hold on. We thought she was fat? What? Like, because
Yeah.
she had boobs? Like, I
Right.
mean, like,
And there was all that like, oh, Renee Zellweger had to be brave and gain all the weight for the
yeah,
role. And like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It's like
deranged is a
I
good word.
forget just how deranged it was. Like I read this book that took place in, or not took place in, it was written in 1997, and
Mm,
I was like, I didn't know that at first when I was reading it, and I was just like, God, the attitudes just seem weird here. And then I'm like, I bet this is from when I was in college or something. And then was like, oh, it's high school. And like, it would have been a good book otherwise. It was a good book otherwise, but it was like, just like weird attitudes about weight and like just this assumption that you want to be as skinny as possible. And like,
yeah.
that is the most attractive option and that is something all women think about.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yeah.
like as not in the plot, just, kind of in the
Right.
background. Like
Yeah.
I do
Which is
feel like in
almost
Bridget
worse.
Bridget Jones, the book at least, Bridget's like that, but also she's like a neurotic wreck, and it isn't exactly meant to be endorsed. It's more a reflection of the times.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. I feel like it's almost worse when it's like just background comments because it's
Hmm.
like truly was so embedded in
Yeah,
literally
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So the chat room was big and beautiful. And apparently her friend says the letters he wrote her were amazing and he knew just what to say. And the friend saved his letters, which is real weird to me.
How did the
Um,
friend get his letters? Like his
he sent
emails or
them.
whatever?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Lauren sent them to her friend, and her friend had printed them out and saved them,
I
which is
was
real weird.
just while I was eating lunch right before this, I was reading an article on askamanager.com about like insane office habits that people have with weird
Oh,
systems. There are still people in the year 2024 who are printing emails and filing them.
oh my God.
Yeah. But again,
Okay.
they're also deranged.
No, but here's the thing. Okay, I actually have an important thing to say about this. I don't, it's not important.
Great.
But it's related. Um, well, I feel like physics and engineering students might be better than the STEM students I work with as far as computers go.
I
But
am mostly teaching the bio and chem majors right now, though.
how bad are they at technology? because mine are
Def-
terrible.
Define technology. They don't know
Okay.
Excel. I'll tell you that. I did this
No.
Excel tutorial, and I had students go, and this was like day 1 or day 2. I did this Excel tutorial they had to do. I made it. It's real cute. I should send it to you.
You should.
I don't know if cute is the right word, but I'm proud of it. And one girl said, I learned more today than I have in 2 years of classes, which is disturbing for other reasons. And I'm sure, I hope, not actually true.
Yeah.
But they don't know Excel. I think what they were telling me is they all use Google Sheets and Google Docs, and they use it for the most basic of things.
Yeah.
They also don't know how to save things and navigate around computers.
No,
and oh
they
my God,
don't.
Helen, is this just kids today? And we're complaining about the youth and how the youth are deficient?
No, because we could complain about the elders as well. Here's
We
what I
hate
think has
everyone.
happened. Yeah. I think that so over the course of my lifetime, I feel like it's been a pretty standard assumption that the younger you are, the better with technology you are.
Yes.
Like up until very recently, which is what I want to talk about. I feel like it's just been like assumed that like, well, you help your parents with the computer stuff, and, you know, people younger are, you know, generally better at this stuff. But I think it's actually a curve of some sort, because I think that we are the peak. I think it's getting worse again.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And I've talked to my colleague Tanya about this, and she agrees. And she also has a lot of problems with students in Excel because she teaches our statistics class. And we think that it's like things have become so easy, they don't actually have to know how to find anything. Like one of my big things is that my students can't figure out where their downloaded files go.
Oh my God, exactly. Exactly. It's like they're gone forever. And I'm like, just poke around. Maybe it's in the file called downloads, but even if it's not, or like, so our students, the university set up this thing called OneDrive, which is like, I never use it. I'm going to sound old, but like, or out of it, but like, I don't use it because I feel like it's not reliable and I can never find stuff that I want to find in there, but it's like online. So theoretically you can get stuff from anywhere. And I'm like, no, you all have this thing called a J drive, and it's your student drive where you can save stuff and you can access it from anywhere on the network on campus. And if you're off campus, you can log in. Here's how you get there. And like, it's just like another, I don't know, drive on any of the computers you open on campus. And so it's
familiar.
Like, it's and they don't know about the J drive. They don't know how to save stuff there. And if I give them like a file path to find something that I saved into like this academic drive, the K drive, they can't find that. And I have to like bring up the screen and be like, click here. Click here.
Yep.
And I don't think it's like, oh, they've fundamentally lost the curiosity. I think they never have to use that sort of skill, and so they just don't. I think you're right.
Everything has become so app-based that they don't know how to do any of the like finding things sorts of things. And I had a student get extremely disrespectful and snippy with me, but basically because he didn't know what a zipped file was.
Oh my God.
And he was like, why is there a zipper?
Oh my God.
Because it's zipped. Well, what am I supposed to know? What does that mean?
I'd like to think that if something happened that I didn't understand, I wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah. Right.
Like I'd be like, oh, what's the zipper for? I don't know how that works.
Yeah. No kidding. There you can compress files. But anyway, I think that we are the peak. I think that actually people both older and younger than us are worse at technology. So I don't think that we're being like, oh, these youngsters, because I think we actually are the peak of technology.
So we're 6.5 years apart. Which one of us do you think is at the peak?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, how wide is the range?
Oh, that's fair. Yeah. You're the one who teaches stats. So
yeah, what we got to do, because your stepdaughter is 25.
Hmm.
And so we'll have to interrogate her about this a little bit.
Interrogate,
And
that's the word. I want a single room with a light bulb and a folding chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
And a laptop with Excel on it.
yes.
And then the problem is that she's not a great example because she teaches history. She's not a science person. So like, when do historians use spreadsheets?
Ooh. Yeah.
I'll tell you this.
I mean, I do.
Adam's comfortable with them. Yeah, but you're not a historian.
No, when I'm doing historical research,
Oh, okay.
I use them. But because I'm familiar with them and like them.
Yeah, I like them too. I like them a lot.
I know. Who wouldn't?
Right?
Yeah. Okay.
I know.
We got to get back to the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, Adam is not a good example either. Is that what you're going to say?
Mean, when we first got together, he was very freaked out by spreadsheets, but over the course of our relationship, he's become more comfortable with them. But it's not because we have a lot of like spreadsheet-based communication about our relationship. I think it's because of for our travel business. So
yeah, I was going to say actually me and Zach share a lot of spreadsheets.
I think if we had little kids, I think then we probably would too.
Yeah, schedules, budgets. Anyway.
Yeah.
So Scully calls Mulder to come to the autopsy because the person's goo. Mm-hmm. And she's showing him a metacarpal, which I paused the screen, was like, is that a metacarpal? And
is that the finger?
Hand.
I was so much
you were
closer
very close.
Than I was afraid. I was scared it was the foot. So
no, I mean, that would be fair. Metacarpals are your hand bones. Metatarsals are your foot bones. I feel like that's a reasonable...
guess. It wouldn't be like I was like in the thigh or something.
Right, yeah.
So,
yeah. And so she's showing him, she talks about the tensile strength of bone, which made me think of one of our first episodes.
Yeah. It was the tensile strength of what? Skin?
Skin.
Mm-hmm.
Skin. But she shows him that she's like holding it with some forceps and she can like squeeze it and the bone for lack of a better sound effect.
I have a bone shaped like a sponge. Nope. No.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah. In my knee. No, I have a sponge shaped like a bone on my counter right now, but it's because I have a little sponge holder that looks like a dog, and then the dog's holding the bone in its mouth.
Oh, that's adorable. This reminds me, I got to go to TJ Maxx or Home Goods because last year I found this great, I've got it in the corner of my office, it's like a painting of a skull with like some flowers around it. And it was last year, maybe the year before. Last year. And the woman was like, oh, yeah, you can find so many great things for Halloween right now. And I was like, yes.
Halloween. Of course.
So it's been in my office since. So I should go. You can find some good bone stuff at the moment.
I'm so sorry to interrupt about Halloween. Did I talk on the podcast about the horse that appears in my neighborhood?
You did. Or you told me. Did you?
Okay. Anyway, it's here now, so that's good. Oh yeah, yeah. So
that is
we'll
good.
Just leave it. We'll just leave it at that. So yeah.
So Scully has analyzed the goo. So she shows Mulder that the bone is spongy and not to be confused with spongy bone, which is also called cancellous bone. Oh. But like actually spongy and like your sponge.
Right, my sponge. Yeah.
And the goo was mostly hydrochloric acid.
Is hydrochloric acid a goo?
No. But the goo was mostly hydrochloric acid.
Plus goo or whatever. Okay.
Yeah. And she says almost identical to stomach acid, which I was kind of like, okay, well, yeah, HCl is in stomach acid. HCl is hydrochloric acid.
Okay.
But like, there's a lot of other stuff too. But then she says she also found pepsin. Pepsin is the active form of pepsinogen. And when HCl and pepsinogen are together, then pepsin, a digestive enzyme, is formed. Anyway.
So what you're trying to tell me is this is actually decent science that Scully is saying because this goo just digested the body.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
And pepsin primarily digests proteins. So we can.
Does this have anything to do with the name of Pepto-Bismol?
Probably.
Okay.
I would think. Yeah.
Because it's about the stomach or whatever.
I would think so. Yeah. So Mulder asks if she found anything missing, which I thought was a very leading question. That wasn't something someone would ask.
Yeah.
And she said that there was almost no fat on the body.
Wasn't there almost nothing on the body? Wasn't it just, I'm sorry, I'm obsessing about the body's composition again.
Wait, hold on. Maybe she said no, there was uh almost no fat in the goo, maybe?
Okay.
Yes, I think there was no fat or no fatty acids in the goo,
Hmm.
I believe. Okay.
Okay.
So then we see a woman, the one who had been chatting with the
Oh,
killer,
yeah.
getting ready for a date.
Hugs
Yes, or timid.
or timid.
But I think he's probably timid if he's also too shy.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And why would he have different screen names? Oh, I guess because he's murdering people. That makes sense. Anyway,
maybe.
yeah.
And her friend is trying to warn her because apparently the FBI put out a warning for people that are on dating websites, which I thought was good. And so her friend is like, don't do this. And she's like, no, he's so nice. And her friend is like, yeah, but you don't actually know him. Don't go on this date. And so then it shows him waiting
Did
for
they
the
just
date.
put like a blanket warning on anyone from a dating website in like the Cleveland area or whatever?
I think they put out like an APB or something showing like a warning to people who might be using online dating in that area or
Can you
something.
imagine that nowadays? It's so many people online date.
Oh God.
It would be insane.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's how people date. Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's my understanding anyway.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe so as well. It was funny. This whole episode made me think of when my friend Ellen was first dating her husband Steve,
Yeah.
and they took a walk after their first date. Like they went back to Ellen's apartment and then took a walk after
Mhm.
dinner before he left. And our mutual friend and Ellen's roommate at the time, Molly, was apparently like, I believe, like peering out the window and like watching them as they were walking. And then there was like one time that I get a call from Molly at like 11 p.m. or something. I was like about to go to bed, and Molly called because Ellen had been going over to Steve's house to watch a movie, and this was like the first time she was going over to his house, and she was like super late, which was unlike her, and not answering her phone.
Oh.
And so Molly very reasonably was like
Yeah.
concerned Ellen might have been murdered.
Yeah.
And she wasn't. They had just been watching a movie and she didn't hear her phone. And Steve's a
Wow.
lovely guy.
Yeah.
But it reminded me of all of that
Yeah.
of
I mean,
online dating.
Yeah. Yeah. You gotta be careful.
Yeah. Yep.
Makes sense.
Got to CCAP people.
Yeah, you got to CCAP them. You got to CCAP them, which, well, and not every state has CCAP. That's Wisconsin
Right.
Circuit Court Access, where you can look up court records. I don't know if every state has something like that. But let's just say you CCAP someone and you go, but that's not the right birth date. That can't be them. That makes them much older. Could still be them. Maybe look into that. And we'll leave that story there.
Yeah. So it shows him waiting for a date and she stood him up.
Oh, no kidding.
So
Okay.
yeah. Yep. But then he goes and is walking down some streets and is talking to some sex workers, and is clearly going to go murder one of them, which is essentially what happens. They go to an alley or somewhere behind a building or something, and she says no kissing. And that angers him because that's how he gets the goo on them. And she starts fighting back and she scrapes off like a ton of skin off his hand.
Okay.
And then they show him feasting on her kind of, noises or whatever. And probably
Is this
goo.
sort of, it's kind of reminding me of, Stretchy Man.
Tombs.
Squeeze, Tombs, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, he's
A
got
little
to feed
bit,
on people's
yeah.
livers and whatever, so.
Yes. Yeah. But I feel like Tombs, in his defense, I feel like kind of, I mean, like he did what, like only so many every so many years or
Like
whatever.
5 every 30 some years or something.
This guy ends up, we see like quite the list. Like he was, anyway. And so a couple finds them and he runs away. But the woman was dead. So then we see next morning, Mulder and Scully are on the scene. Apparently her name was Holly McLean. and the detective makes a comment, the other detective,
Mhm.
about her weight, so he can go fuck himself.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah, about like
So
her
I
not
guess,
being a very popular one or whatever.
ew,
Yeah,
ew,
yeah,
ew. But I guess they had to have him say that stuff to Scully earlier so that they could get him to say that to work for the plot and to make us believe he'd be the sort of jerk that would say that about a dead woman. So,
presumably. Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so Mulder has the letters from Lauren's friend, the
Oh,
letters that
yes.
the
Can you imagine
PI
printing
sent
out
her.
the letters? Yeah, we got off topic about that a little bit, but
Oh,
like, yeah,
right. Yeah.
that's just wild.
No. Again, when I
Saving them
think
on
of
my
like,
laptop, sure, but like printing them.
yeah, but I wouldn't like, I've had people be like, oh, look at this message this guy online sent me. It's
Mm.
not something I'm gonna save. I don't
I guess
know.
what I mean
Like,
is like I would if it was email forwarded to me, I wouldn't delete it because I don't
oh,
delete
sure.
emails
Right.
unless they're junk and
Yeah.
I don't have any tasks to do, but I just don't
Yeah.
delete any emails, so it would just stay there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but you wouldn't print them out and save them.
There's no scenario where I would do that now.
No.
Not in the 90s and not now.
No. Nope. Um, and apparently they contain a bunch of super obscure quotes from Italian literature, that like are
Huh.
not like typical, I don't know
Huh.
what typical Italian literature
Dante,
is.
I would think.
Yeah, right. And so Mulder thinks he's an academic of some sort. And
Oh.
so they're gonna check records and names and stuff for um academics in the area.
Okay, so
Uh
they're like, let's find people like English professors in the area who
right.
are single?
Well, I think the couple got like a brief look at his face.
Oh,
So
okay.
they have
Okay.
like a general description.
Okay.
So Scully then notices that the woman, Holly McLean,
McLean?
yeah, has skin under her fingernails
Oh,
from where
good.
she scraped him.
Hmm.
So then we see him in his apartment suturing his hand. And Scully says something about like how to look for a guy who has uh
Hmm.
yeah,
Scratches or whatever.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in his apartment fixing up his hand, and a delivery driver calls him, and so he has to go downstairs to meet him. And we see a girl who's late preteen, early teen years
Hmm.
who appears to be blind.
Hmm.
And we find out it's the daughter of the woman who's a poet.
Oh, okay.
And they call him Mr. Encanto, which sucks because Encanto, the movie, which I'm guessing is spelled the same way, was awesome. And so
Oh, yeah.
I don't like thinking of him
I
as
also
Mr.
just feel
Encanto.
like that's the name of a magician. Not a specific one
Yeah.
I know, but like it just seems like a weirdly fanciful name for this guy.
Well, it turns out that's not his real name.
Oh, okay. All right. That
So, I
makes more
mean,
sense.
yeah. Um, and the mom is like flirting with him, and the daughter is kind of being like, oh. And then he leaves, and the daughter says that the mom says something about her being rude, and she's like, no, I don't like him. He creeps me out, and it smells like dish soap.
Huh.
With like lipids, and lipid lysis, I'm guessing is where that is going.
Oh, really?
So my guess is that it's because there's, a bunch of stuff in soap, that a bunch of enzymes and other things, that's what they're trying to get at. And
Like
I
a
mean,
soap fat thing?
yeah, yeah.
Ew.
And I mean,
First of
like,
all, ew. But second of
right.
all, I guess it wouldn't really bother me if somebody smelled like dish soap. Like that, as far as ways people could smell, that doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah. No,
If
I
I
don't know.
already didn't like someone, maybe I would use it to be mad about, though.
Yeah, perhaps. So they're at the police station, Mulder and Scully, and Scully's
Mhm.
compiling a list of academics. And it's a good thing you didn't go to grad school at Case Western because
Oh
you
my
could have
God,
been
yeah,
on
I
that
could be
list.
on
I
that
mean,
list.
wrong year, but still.
Yeah.
And apparently, Mulder had the skin under the fingernails tested against the known offenders database, and he hands Scully the file, and she's like, "Well, it didn't match anything." Um, it, so it didn't match any known offenders, but the
Okay.
thing found that the guy didn't have any fatty acids or something. This is where things start to break down.
Okay.
Bum.
Uh,
Because you couldn't live without any fatty acids. Now, I mean, and I guess that's the point, but you also couldn't suck them from others. So I don't know.
well, are fatty acids and lipids the same thing?
Oh, I would love to tell you more. So lipids are made out of two components, a glycerol molecule and a fatty acid.
What's a glycerol
And
molecule?
glycerol is an alcohol. So
Okay.
it's just an alcohol molecule.
Okay, that's enough for me.
Yeah, thank you.
And so fatty acids are glycerol plus lipids?
Nope.
I
Lipids
got it
are,
backwards.
yeah,
Okay.
are glycerol and fatty acids.
Okay.
And lipids are in a lot of stuff. Like we need them like for our phospholipid bilayer, meaning our like the membrane of our cells.
Oh, okay.
So that's made of lipid. Like
Oh,
a lot
like
of
that's like fundamental for us to like exist as a structure.
yes, exactly.
Okay.
Right. So it's not just like um it's not just like our fat molecules are lipids, which they are.
Okay.
And there's like a lot of lipid in our adipose tissue, in our fat tissue,
Mhm.
but there are lipids, including fatty acids, that we need for like really basic cellular structures.
Okay.
And also, I thought it was interesting that pepsin digests proteins, which I thought was an interesting choice
Oh yeah.
for what was in the goo. If he
Yeah.
doesn't have fatty acids, I don't know. There's a lack of biochemists conferring on this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mulder thinks, though, that he's trying to replenish his supply of fatty acids.
Okay.
But again, pepsin breaks down okay, no, I'm not gonna keep questioning it because it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I mean, I guess on a similar note, vampires don't have blood, right? I mean, a sort of
Right.
similar note. Go with me, right? They don't have
Yeah.
blood. Are we to believe they're drinking blood because that's how they get their blood? I don't think that's how I ever took it. I thought it was like they don't have blood and also that's what they eat. It's not like if I eat a piece of cauliflower, I get cauliflower running through my body. I
No,
mean,
but this
just
is interesting because
one
this is
system.
one of the key ways I feel like where people don't understand how nutrition works, and people
I
think
definitely don't.
what I'm saying, what you're pointing out is correct and smart, and but like people that are like, oh, I have to take all these antioxidants because if I eat enough blueberries, I'll live longer or whatever. Like the people,
Well,
like
believe you me, if that works out, I'm gonna live forever.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But right, like I don't think people get that it's like the little cauliflower particles don't get in your blood.
Yeah,
So I
that
think
would
this is a
be
very
bad.
it would be bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you make a very valid point.
Oh,
And I don't know
what do you
why
know?
vampires
Okay, you paused for
drink
just a second
blood.
there, and I was like, you make a very valid point, and I don't know why.
Oh no.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, vampires drinking blood. Like
Yeah.
I always just took it as like that's their nutrition in the same way
Right.
that we could drink blood. We shouldn't, but we could.
No. Well, but it actually is a decent source of nutrition in a pinch. So if you're ever
In a pinch, like
yeah, like I don't
you're
recommend
running
it day to
errands,
day.
you forgot to bring a granola bar, and there's the blood bank.
No, but like, if you're like stranded somewhere and
Yeah.
you're out of both food and
Ugh.
water, it's a decent
Yeah.
source of nutrition. Yeah.
Okay, so dumb question that I'm gonna regret asking because it might make me physically sick to ask it.
Oh no.
I don't know if I should ask it actually.
No,
now
you
that I
have
said,
to.
okay, if I was in that scenario and I drank my own blood, like let's
Yeah.
say I like am in the forest and I like fell down and cut my
Right,
leg and
sure.
I'm stuck there. Can I just drink my own blood?
Okay, so two things. First of all, I feel like the forest, you could probably find other nutrients. I feel like that's a bad
No.
example.
I'm stuck though because I hurt my leg, so I'm just like laying there with
okay.
my bloody leg.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
No, because most of our blood is water. that's essential for us to use for cellular functions, etc. And so you're just dehydrating yourself more.
But what if I'm losing the blood anyway?
Hmm.
That
Well,
would
that's a good
work, right?
question.
My body won't know whose blood it was.
Right, but it's the wrong replacement. Like, so you're losing blood. I don't know how much I should say. I don't want
I
to.
mean, I'm already feeling kind of sick, so
Okay, maybe I don't think it would do what you'd want it to do.
okay.
We'll leave it
All
there.
right. Best to
Yeah.
best to figure out a different plan involving like some moss or something.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes.
right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think it would do what you want it to do
Okay.
without getting into too many details about what it would do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, apparently the detective had gotten 38 names, and so they're going to divide them up and search.
So they're just like, as a detective, it's the 90s, and you're like, let's figure out, we got to call all our universities and we got to be like, hey, how many dudes that look like this do you have who might know about poetry or whatever from Italy? And that's what they do. And they got 38
yeah,
people. Wow.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neat. Okay.
Do you think Adam would be on that list if it were in Platteville?
He focused mostly on France and Germany, and he um, also is a historian, not an English professor.
Well, they
So,
don't know that he's an English, just academics
yeah,
that would have
then yeah,
access to Italian
if
literature.
the guy was blonde, then yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah. I
So
think that
that,
he wouldn't be a top candidate, but I think they'd be
yeah.
foolish not to include him. They should be thorough enough.
All
Yeah.
right. Good. Um, so we see the murderer guy, Mr. Encanto, and he's reading an email from the woman who stood him up, and she's all apologetic
Mm.
and you know, whatever. And then we see them like knocking on doors, and there's a knock on his door, and it's the detective. So the
Okay,
detective
the
was
jerky
the
one.
one, yes.
Yeah.
And as he comes in, he's like, want to ask you some questions, blah blah blah, and the camera moves and it shows that he sees the bandage on his hand.
Ah, okay.
Yep. And so what I'll say for this episode is that I feel like I could follow everyone's thought process. Like I was not like, wait, how
That
did we
is
get there?
not to
Like
be
it
taken for
seemed,
granted.
no,
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
So then Mulder and Scully are at the police station and talking about how the detective hasn't come back yet.
Ooh.
So that's the problem. I mean,
Yes.
it's a problem.
They
Yeah.
were like, we're not going to make you too sad about this guy dying. Yeah.
Right. And we see that now the murderer is now on a date with the woman who stood him up, and she's being all apologetic again for standing him up. And he's, of course, being, oh, no, it's fine. And, being gross. And then he says, like, oh, I have to catch a bus to get home. My car's in the shop. And she's like, oh, no, I insist. Let me drive you home.
No,
So
never do
yeah.
that.
No.
One time, had a guy
Nope.
over. He rode his motorcycle down in like an hour, and I was like real bored. And he was like, "Oh, it looks like it's gonna rain." And I was like, "Oh, yep, you'll be fine. You should get on the road. Yep, you're good."
That's great.
Yeah.
I once thought I was going to have a good date and picked a guy up and then had a really terrible time and was like, oh, no, I have to drive him back to where he left his car. Like we like met somewhere and then took my car to the restaurant. And then I was like, oh, I have to spend like 10 more minutes with this guy. Sucks. He was the one who stopped in the middle of dinner to take all these vitamins. And like all he wanted to talk about was how he walks to work every day and how he's like building all this muscle. And I was just like, oh God, get me out of here.
Oh God.
Yeah.
The guy that on the motorcycle was the guy who it was really grim. He was in the Navy and he was on a submarine and he spent the whole day just telling me, I don't want to go back under the water.
Oh God.
Yeah, he was just like, I don't want to go back under. It's so dark. It's so terrible. And it was just like really grim. It was not like a fun evening I cared to repeat. And then then he was like stalling at my house and it was like, no, you're gonna be on your way, sir.
Oh God.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
So then we see the poet lady knocking on Mr. Encanto's door. And when he doesn't answer, she is like gonna slide the envelope of her poems under his door, but then just opens his door with her keys,
She's
which is
not
a
a
bad
good
idea.
landlord. Yeah.
No, or yeah, or dater. I mean, like that's not a great
Dater.
idea. Yeah.
People who date,
Um,
they're daters. Yeah.
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 So Ellen is the name of the date.
Okay.
And she's dropping off Mr. Encanto from their date.
Hmm.
And he is trying to get her to come up to his apartment.
Hmm.
And she's like kind of making excuses, but it's like kind of clear like she wants to though. But then he notices that there's movement in his apartment. And so then is suddenly like, never mind, I have work to do
Yeah.
in the morning,
Yeah.
and like runs out of the car. And we see the poet in his apartment, and she's like putting the files down, or not the files, I'm used to that with this, the poems down, and notices there's like tons of flies.
Ew.
Um,
Oh my God. Wait, there were flies in my episode last week too. Maggots and flies and stuff.
oh yeah, that's
Were
right.
they just like, we got a great deal on these fake flies. Let's see how many episodes we can use them in. Like we
Maybe.
bought them in bulk. Yeah.
I've got bees all over my house.
Really?
Or yellow jackets, I believe. Yes, I have
Ooh.
a ton of yellow jackets coming into my house, and I think it's because of the weather. And they're like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
warm in here, and I'm like, no, please,
Yeah.
leave.
Yeah.
Just like you said to that guy who didn't want to be on the submarine.
You gotta go back under the water.
Yeah.
Go back on your boat.
So the poet starts following like the direction of the flies and finds the detective dead in the bathtub.
Dude, if I walked in some building and I was like, there's so many flies, I wouldn't be like, let's see what they found that's so great. Like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck,
And then
okay.
she turns and Mr. Encanto is standing in the door. So, and then, yeah. So that's all we
the
see.
poor blind girl.
Yeah. So then it shows the woman's daughter,
Yeah.
who I believe is named Jessie,
Okay.
entering his apartment. So his apartment door is kind of open. And so she starts walking in, and she says she's looking for her mom, and that she was supposed to be home an hour ago from her poetry class and doesn't know where she is. And he says he doesn't know. And then on her way out, she kind of bumps into a suitcase, and he tells her that he's going on a business trip to New York. And the girl kind of gets freaked out, and she says, oh, she'll probably be home soon. Thanks anyway. And like makes a quick getaway. So then we see Mulder and Scully at the apartment because the girl called the police when she got back to hers because she smelled her mother's perfume in his apartment.
Ooh.
And she was scared
Good.
that he would hurt her. So she
Good
lied
work,
to
girl.
him.
Good work,
I know.
girl.
I was very like, this
Yeah.
is some excellent.
Yeah. Let us all
excellent
learn
instincts.
from you. Yeah.
Yeah. So she tells Scully what he said about New York. But Mulder eventually is like, no, he's smarter than that. He's not gonna go where he said he was going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And apparently his name is Virgil Encanto. But that's all the information they have about him. There's nothing else with that name. So it's clear that that's a made-up name, as you would think for a person named Virgil Encanto. And
I'll tell you this, anybody who would choose that name sounds insufferable.
Yeah.
Murderer or not.
Yeah. If this episode's all about dating, let me also tell the story about how I once went out with a guy who told me that he got, the MCAT, the like medical school placement exam, used to be on a scale similar to the ACT, which is probably different now too.
It is.
But
yeah.
like
ACT
like
used to be up to 36. So.
Yeah, which is what it used to be up to, I believe, 36. But whatever it was, he told me that he got a number higher than that. Like he
my
must
God.
not have known that I knew and said like that he got a 37 or whatever on that.
Oh God.
I
Oh.
was like, oh.
Yeah.
But it reminded me because about Virgil Encanto, he wanted to get the words truth and justice in Latin tattooed huge across his chest.
Wait, hold on. Virgil Encanto did, or the guy that you're on the date with?
the guy that I went on a date with. Different bad date. This was a different,
You know,
different person.
You met Zach when you were quite young,
Yeah.
and it's like amazing how quickly one can rack up ridiculously bad dates. You know,
For real.
yeah,
Yeah, this guy the Truth and Justice and Latin guy, the
God.
37 on his MCAT. We were at Mendota Terrace. We were at the at
student
the
union.
UW, the student
Yeah.
union in Madison, and it's like right on the water. We got ice cream and we're sitting by the water, and it's like summer and like 8 o'clock, and it's like broad daylight, basically,
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what? I got to get up early for work tomorrow. So I think I better go home and go to bed.
That guy. I think you've talked about him on the podcast before,
have I?
actually. Yes.
Oh, yeah. And he was like, "Oh, already? It's light out." And I was like, "Yeah, I gotta go to bed. Sorry." So Virgil Incanto is a freelance Italian translator, turns out.
I can't imagine there's that much work in the 90s for one of those, because nowadays you could do it online. All right, I'm sorry. Right. Continue.
Yeah.
I just want to rip on this guy.
That's fair. So Mulder and Scully go onto his computer to try to find information about him. And they bring it to a guy at the FBI, and he says that he can restore the files that apparently they were deleted by him, but they were password protected, so it'll take some time. So then we see Ellen gets a ring on her doorbell kind of late at night, and it's Mr. Incanto, Virgil. And she eventually lets him in, and then we see her like rechain the door.
Oh no.
Yeah. And then they finally unlock the files back at the FBI, and Scully says to send the sketch of him to everyone who was on the list of people he was talking to online.
Yes, smart.
Yeah. So Ellen then is serving them coffee, and he apparently came because he felt bad about how things were left. And her phone rings, and she says, "Oh no, it'll go to voicemail."
I would want to be like, why didn't you call me and say that? Why'd you have to come over? Yeah.
And so she goes into her bedroom. She says she's going to change into some regular clothes and checks her email while she's in there, and sends her friend a message being like, "You'll never guess who's over," like one of those messages. And Scully says, it's flipping back and forth, right?
Yeah.
Scully says she couldn't get in touch with two of the women on the list. And so she says she left messages with them, but that they should go check on them. So these two women that were on the list. So then we see Ellen back at her computer, and she gets an email with the sketch of the killer and realizes who it is. And he walks into her bedroom.
Of course he does.
Yeah, but she like plays it off pretty well, and it's like, "Oh, I'm emailing a friend," and but then he sees the reflection of her computer screen in the mirror. Yeah. So Mulder and Scully knock on Ellen's door, but there's no answer. But her friend is in the hallway. Her friend apparently was a neighbor, and hears like all the knocking commotion. And says, "Oh, if you're looking for Ellen, like I know she's home because she just emailed me."
Right.
Yeah. And so Mulder and Scully break down the door, and they find that there had been a struggle, and see the computer monitor like on its side, with the guy's face on it. And Mulder sees an open window, and he kind of goes and looks out, and he sees a guy running away. And they find Ellen, and she's not dead yet, but covered in goo, but not dead yet.
Okay.
And so Scully is going to stay to help her, and Mulder runs after the guy. But it was just a spray painter that Mulder is running after, a spray painter who was running away. It was not the guy.
So where's Incanto? Yeah.
Well, he sneaks up on Scully and starts to attack her. He was still in the apartment.
Okay.
Yeah. And so there's a struggle in the bathroom, and she stabs him with scissors, and then I can't tell whose gun it was, like if it was Scully's and she dropped it. But then they're struggling, and then suddenly Ellen is there and shoots him.
Oh, hey, Ellen. Nice work.
Yep. Yeah. So then they take him into custody, and they're like, at least give these people's families closure. Like, how many of these women on that list, are you responsible for? And he said that he admits to a bunch of them, or all of them. Like he says they were all mine, I think he says. And his skin is like covered in plaques, which
in
apparently
what? Plaque?
Yeah.
Plaque?
Like, like plaque psoriasis, like eczema. Like,
Okay, okay.
yeah.
Oh. So what are we meant to make? Is that new? Was his skin not like that before?
No, he had made some comment about it before at one point. Like one of the women saw something on his wrist and
Okay.
asked about it. I guess we're supposed to think that like a lack of fatty acids will do that to you. Um,
Okay.
but
As opposed
there's
to just destroying you as an entity
right.
altogether. Okay.
Yeah. And that's it.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I mean,
yeah,
that wasn't
not
that bad, it sounds like.
no, it really wasn't. It was much better than I was expecting it to be. It was relatively entertaining
Yeah.
and yeah, I could follow it.
Yeah.
It was a
Cohesive. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, decent episode. Lots of
I
goo.
feel like I'm pleased for you. I don't want to watch the one I have coming up next. It is
Mm.
The Walk. It's the one with like a quadriplegic in a military hospital who's like astral projecting and killing people.
Oh yeah.
I don't
What's
know.
after that?
Oubliette, which I remember being a really scary one. I don't remember anything
Ooh.
else about it though. Do you?
No, I don't. But I would offer to trade, but I feel like there's a lot of the really scary ones I haven't ever seen.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Mulder seeks the help of a woman whom he believes has a special connection with a young girl who's recently been kidnapped by the same man who held her captive many years ago. Does that sound familiar?
Yes, vaguely. Do you want to switch?
Eh, I'll just do it. If we switch,
Okay.
you're gonna get an episode with X, and I'm not. That's probably
Yeah.
gonna happen anyway. So
We haven't seen him at all yet.
yeah, it's been pretty like just Monster of the Week, no
Yeah.
touching on X, no touching on the conspiracy at all.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the ones in season 1 and 2 will throw in those little notes of
Yeah.
conspiracy elements in one way or the other.
Right.
So yeah.
Haven't
And
haven't seen that yet.
yeah, also we talked last week after we stopped recording, and I wanted to mention it now, just that how we remember season 3 and people generally remember season 3 as like X-Files is firing on all seasons on all seasons on all cylinders, like it's great. Seasons 3, 4, 5 all great.
Yep.
And I feel like there's been a lot that I haven't loved.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how maybe that's because we have gotten used to a model of TV where there are much shorter seasons and there's just more filler back then.
Yeah. I mean, hour-long episodes, like 23 of them in a
Yeah.
season, like that's
Yeah.
pretty
It's a lot.
intense.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Yeah. So we had said something about like last week's feeling like filler,
Yeah.
and maybe it like straight up is. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
And then we
Um,
just never rewatched the
yeah.
ones that weren't great.
Yeah.
So,
Kind of in the way that like I was talking to our dad about how like people think music was better back in a certain era, and maybe that's true to some degree, but also we tend to remember the good songs and not remember all the random garbage.
like
Um,
Muskrat Love,
I feel like we should
for
remember that.
example.
I mean, like I meant like boring garbage.
Oh, sure.
Like muskrat is that about two muskrats being in love?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
That's I
Yeah.
mean, that's
Hold on. Hold on.
crazy.
Let's see.
We should have like a day once a year where we just
Oh, that's
remember.
Captain Tennille.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Captain Tennille. Muskrat, candlelight, doing the town and doing it right. Yeah. Muskrat Susie and Muskrat Sam doing the jitterbug out in the muskrat land. Yeah. Are you not familiar with this?
I've heard the title. I don't think I knew the words. I mean, yeah, we should just have a day every year where we remember that Muskrat Love exists and be like, what the hell? And it
Yeah.
should be October 22nd.
Yeah. 1972.
Was that like a big hit?
Oh, I don't know. We'd have to ask someone alive in 1972.
I mean, the
But
fact that it
I
existed
don't
at
know.
all, I guess there's novelty songs always, but like, how? How? My
I
question is
don't,
how? How? People were, someone, I don't know, was it the
right.
captain? I don't know how that works. Did other people write their songs where someone was like, you know what's hot? Muskrats.
Well,
Like,
it's, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. A&M A&M Records decided to issue, this is Wikipedia, Muskrat Love as a single after WISM, a Madison, Wisconsin radio station that had been
Hey, it's
airing the
part of
album
our
cut,
history.
reported phenomenal listener response to the song in 1976.
Okay, so we need to talk to people who are older than us who lived in Madison and be like, explain yourselves.
Yeah. 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 I wonder, I think my mother-in-law would have been in college in Madison at that
Okay.
around there. I'll
All
ask
right.
her.
You know, yeah, please.
I think it
We
might
need
have
some
been,
answers. Yeah.
yeah, I'll see if she has any. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, 1972 otherwise probably had some good music, I'd
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. I can't think of a single thing that I know came out in 72 now except Muskrat Love.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I can't believe you forgot about Muskrat Susie and
Oh,
Muskrat Sam.
I don't know that I ever knew the words. I don't know that I've ever heard it. I feel
Yeah.
like I've just heard like references to it elsewhere. But like, I think in
It's
my
always
brain,
on. Oh, I was
no, go ahead. What is it?
no,
Always
no.
on?
The like worst song lists.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were gonna say like a station.
Yeah.
Like what is Beloit's radio? Like, okay. I can't get my head around it. I don't think I thought it was actually about muskrats. I don't know what I thought.
No,
I
it
clearly
is.
didn't
It
think about
is.
it that hard, but like
Yes, it is actually about
I know
muskrats.
we were talking about X-Files, but this seemed like it needed to kind of be explored.
Yeah. Well, and if anyone has any insight, if you were living in Madison in
Yeah, did you
1976,
listen to it voluntarily?
yeah,
Were you like, oh, that song about the muskrats hitting the town is on? This is just like the coolest. Was
yeah.
it drugs? Were drugs the issue?
Oh,
No, it's
Madison
not
in
enough of an issue
76?
though. What'd you say?
Madison,
72.
right, but it was in 76 where Madison loved it
Oh,
so much
right.
they demanded. So,
Right.
I mean,
I mean,
Madison in
there's plenty of
76?
drugs in Madison. Yeah, sure. But like, I don't
Yeah,
know. What drug is going to make you like a song about muskrats, though? Like,
I don't know.
I haven't done
Maybe.
a lot of drugs, but I have to imagine that it's not like, I don't know. I don't
Yeah,
know. Yeah,
I don't. Yeah,
it was a
we'll need
different
more
time.
information.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, we'll need more information.
Yeah.
I'll see what I can find.
Yeah. Where was our Aunt Linda living?
Ooh,
She
that's a
in
good question.
Wisconsin, maybe? Talk to her. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
And like,
I bet we
were
know some
people
people.
like, were they listening to it in the car, in like at dances? Like, how were people consuming it? Like, were they dancing to it? Were they like singing along? Were they like, oh, turn it up? It's that song about the muskrats.
I don't know, but there is, I mean, like,
I mean, are there any other songs you can think of that have been popular that are about like two animals falling in love and like hitting the town with goofy names?
I mean, there's the Disney version of Robin Hood. There's
No,
some catchy
Disney doesn't
music in there.
count. And it's not about, hey, these two foxes,
No.
they've got cool outfits. All right, I'm gonna not keep making up that song.
Um,
Yeah, I don't think there's any other
yeah.
songs I know that are about animals that fall in love. Like, and are like muskrats in particular are such an odd choice, I feel like. Like, I'm trying to think about I was talking with somebody one day, I think it was our friend Chris, about like songs that mention animals in the title, and we had a ton,
Huh.
but I don't think Muskrat Love was mentioned. There's like, the Fly Like an Eagle song.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
that is all I can think of, actually. I can't think of any other songs about animals or with animals in the title. Certainly not. I'm not even sure what a muskrat is.
Mm. Sorry, I was I was trying to see if I could find any other songs that were by a quick Google.
Yeah.
No, a muskrat is like a what are those guys? Groundhog kind of?
Oh
It's
God,
a
Helen, I think the muskrats have sex in this song.
Oh no.
I'm looking at the lyrics. I'm not going to quote them, but I think that's what's
Yeah.
happening after they get engaged.
Oh no.
I don't like it.
Oh. Ooh.
I don't like it at all.
Huh.
What's wrong with Captain and Tennille, and what's wrong with
No, I mean that's
America?
a really decent question anyway. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
their like hit list is, you know.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, this is just like
Yeah. No, that's there. Drugs would have had to have been involved.
the
That's the
answer
only.
probably is drugs, one way or the
Yeah.
other. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Like
both ways.
maybe it was
Always.
drugs in like the creation of it and in like some sort of like I don't know upper like cocaine or something where they're randomly think about a muskrat and then they're
Yeah.
so overconfident and high that they're like I had the best idea and I'm a genius and we're gonna do
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. I think that is the only explanation.
Yeah.
I wonder
And like
if they've
the
ever
messed up part
talked
is
about
that
it.
they were right and that people
Yeah.
did
Yeah.
listen to it.
Which also I think can only be drugs.
Yeah, but like different ones? I don't know.
I don't know.
Or like were people listening to it ironically? Did that exist back then? Did
I'm
people
sure
listen to music that sucked ironically in the
probably,
past? Am I being
but
naive by thinking they may not have? It just feels like such a 90s
yeah.
concept.
No, I'm sure they did, but probably not enough to get it to play a lot on the
Yeah,
radio.
fair
You
enough.
know?
I mean, Friday by Rebecca Black became a big hit.
That's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, and it's terrible, but it's not, it's different terrible. It's just terrible because it's
Yeah,
terrible. It's not terrible
right.
because it describes muskrats
It's
getting
weird.
engaged and having sex.
Oh God. Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. It's got a catchy tune. To be fair, I haven't
Yeah.
listened to Muskrat Love. So that might be catchy
Yeah.
enough to
Yeah.
um
Well,
I think this
yeah.
is as good a place as any to
Yep.
call it.
Sounds good. I think it's
All
good we
right.
explored this. If you have any insights about Muskrat Love, please
Yeah.
share them. Any memories about it, any thoughts, please let us know. In addition to letting us know any stories about scary bridges, the supernatural, or what we should title or subtitle our Jesus Revenge thriller movie.
Yes. Yep.
And I'll just
Sounds
do a quick
good.
ad read, which is just me telling you to go buy my book because
Yeah.
I pay for this, so you should buy my book, Mighty Millie Novak. It's a YA about a anxious queer teen girl who joins a roller derby team and is attempting to reinvent herself. So
Very good. I ordered
Yeah.
it on Libby just to I don't know. Not try
me
to
too. Me
Did
too.
you?
I just wanted to see it there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can like libraries
Borrow
have
it.
bookstores
Yeah.
have it. If bookstores don't have it, you can order it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
on. Get my book. Do your thing.
All right. Until next time. Bye.
Bye.